Hades Extreme Measure 4 is definitely the hardest fight this game has to offer. Before you even think about fighting him, you need to be confident with being able to fight without getting hit too much. There isn't a lot of room for error during this fight. Ideally, you should be able to do an entire run while taking minimal damage and at a good pace. As you can see, I have pretty much everything maxed out. Shadow Presence is great because it gives you 50% extra backstab damage. You will be proccing this a lot even by mistake. For melee builds, you'll want to be behind him for the extra damage. Fiery Presence is essentially useless for this fight because he's never going to be undamaged, so take Shadow Presence. You need multiple lives for this fight, okay? Unless you're just a god, but if you're watching this guide, I assume you aren't. So take the lives, you're going to need them. They will revive you for half your HP, so during the run, try to accumulate at least 200 to 300 HP minimum, okay? You want health. If you have enough HP, you'll come out with at least 100 HP when you get rezzed, and that will mean that he can't one-shot you. Ruthless Reflex is a must-have. It straight up gives you 50% damage and dodge chance whenever you're dashing before you get hit, which you're going to be doing for the entire fight. The extra dash you get from Greater Reflex is very useful, but during the run we're going to hunt for the Greatest Reflex boon from Hermes, so that we get more than one dash anyway. That way we can end up getting even 4 dashes if we get really lucky with our boon rarities. Take Ruthless Reflex, it's great. Boiling Blood is also very good, but it's not going to work for a lot of builds because you have to have your car stuck in him. Builds where you're using Ares Rift Blaze, for example, aren't really going to do anything with this. But it is better than the alternative, so take Boiling Blood. Thick Skin is great, it's just extra 50 HP. There is no way you're gonna have above 80% HP during the entire fight, unless you're amazing and you're never getting hit, but I doubt that. So take the extra HP, you're gonna need it. Privilege status is a must-have, okay? It is very easy to proc with most builds and will give you an extra 40% damage whenever you are hitting him for basically the entire fight, if your build is good. You need to plan your build out during your run to make sure you're taking advantage of this, okay? It's just 2 status effects. It's very easy to proc. You can use a weak and a chill. You can use a dot from Dionysus with a jolt from Zeus. You know, you can do so many combinations. It's very easy to proc. The last 3 don't really matter that much for the fight itself, but having higher chances to get better boons is always great because you're gonna need the best shit that you can get for this fight. This game is very well balanced in that most builds and weapon combinations will be effective against him. If you're struggling a lot and want a relatively easy way to beat him, you should just use the shield with the aspect of Zeus. This weapon is completely fucking broken as it enables you to block essentially all of his attacks while also damaging him at the same time. I'll be showing footage of this throughout the video. Whether or not you can beat him will mainly come down to how strong your build got and how good you are mechanically. If you feel during the run that your build is very weak, you might want to restart. Especially if you're having trouble with a duo boss fight in Elysium. That's normally a decent indicator of whether or not you're going to be able to beat Hades. During your run, you should be on the lookout for the better calls in this game. I normally prefer the aspect of Aphrodite or Artemis, as they both let you do a huge burst damage. The timing of how you use these will be important, as if you use the 2500 damage Aphrodite attack when he is almost at a health interval where he gets the shield, all of that damage will be wasted. What I like to do is normally use your call right after he's done shielding. You can also save the call for some of the adds in the fight, which we will talk about more in detail later. I would also recommend taking either the Palm Blossom Keepsake to make your build stronger, or the Lucky Tooth for an extra life before you enter the Satyr Temple. Alright, now let's get into the fight itself. This fight has 3 phases. In each phase, he will have unique attacks. On top of all of his original attacks in the first 3 extreme measures, he now has some new shit he can do. Whenever he does a spin attack, he will always follow it up with another spin. This is easy enough to dodge with multiple dashes. If you only have one, you will have to run away a little before you dodge so you are not in his range. The second spin should never hit you because by the time you've dodged the first one, you should be far enough away from him where the second one isn't even a threat. The skulls he shoots at you now also have a slow aura when they are on the field. This is negligible because you can just dash through them. The same principle applies as in the first fight. Only go out of your way to destroy the skulls if he is not near you or if he's off the map. Otherwise you should be focused on him at all times. He will now also throw his spear at you the same way Zagreus can use his spear. This attack is probably his most dangerous one because of the fucking damage he can do to you. It's absolutely filthy. Be on the lookout for this animation and dodge to either side of it to avoid it. He also dodged through it and I believe deflect it as well. He will then dash towards the spear. During his first phase, he still summons adds at 2 different health intervals, but this time he summons fucking mini bosses. It is recommended to kill the first wave of the adds, but you can ignore the second wave if you think you can kill him fast enough, because the adds disappear when his HP hits 0. There is an element of luck here because certain bosses are way worse than other ones, but the general rule is focus the mini bosses while simultaneously looking out for Hades. They do not do as much damage as him, so you should still be focusing on what he is doing so you don't get hit. He should always be your main priority during this fight. Don't let the adds distract you. This phase is probably the hardest part of the fight if you don't have a lot of single target DPS because the adds will just take too long to die. On top of that, if you play with the modifier that gives armored enemy perks, it will get way worse because they can start teleporting and shit. The only tip I can give you here is to bomb rush the adds as soon as they spawn. For the second phase, he still has his 3-hit combo, however now he can finish it with either a spear throw or a spin attack. His vases can also now heal him if he wishes to do so. He heals for a lot, so make sure you destroy as many vases as you can. In general, I only tend to leave up to 3 vases on the field at one time, so that if he tries to heal I can destroy them more quickly if I need to. When he is below 50% HP, at some point he will summon Cerberus. Cerberus' attack is very difficult to avoid without multiple dodges. He will rain meteors from the sky, so if you only have one dodge, try to wait till the last second to dodge. Do not panic dash, or you may get hit by multiple explosions. He doesn't do too much damage, so it isn't a bad idea to get hit by one explosion and stay stationary so the rest don't hit you. I don't think you can block this attack because it comes from above, but I haven't tested it enough to say for sure. His fire beam attack now also releases 2 waves, which will push you away from him if you are too close. Use the rocks in the arena to avoid the beams. However, be warned that the beams can sometimes go over the rocks, so be ready to dash if they do. If you're using the shield, you can just stand in front of him and block. That is why it's so good. If you have the shield aspect of Zeus, you can throw the shield at him and block at the same time so that you're damaging him while you're blocking. The third phase of this fight is pretty much identical to the second, just now that he can't summon Cerberus. Instead he'll make the entire arena darker to lower your visibility. This isn't that bad of a detriment in my opinion, because you can still tell where he is by the aura. In general, if you can beat the first 2 phases with a decent amount of health left and even a life or 2, you can 100% beat the third. This fight is very difficult. Throughout the run to the boss, you'll want to gather as many powerful boons as you can. Focus on getting the dual and legendary boons which you prefer to play with. In the clip you are seeing now, I'm using the aspect of Chiron Bow with the Poseidon special boon which gives me knockback. This combined with Zeus's duo boon will shoot a lightning bolt at him for every special arrow that hits him. Because I also have the Jolted and Rupture boons, I am constantly triggering the privilege status on every hit. So essentially every time I'm hitting him, it's with 40% extra damage on top. This can be done with a variety of different combinations, such as Aphrodite's weaknesses and Ares' doom abilities. This fight is generally easier with a range build, but if you are using a melee build, just try to always stay behind him for the extra backstab damage. This will also allow you to dodge more of his attacks. Like I said earlier in the video, try to save your dodges. If you have more than one dodge for this fight, try to not use as many of them as you can. You want to have at least one dash ready at all times, just in case you're about to get hit by an attack. Do not just spam dashes, use them intelligently. More time you can just dash at the perfect timing and completely avoid an attack. You don't have to just run away with every single dash that you have. One more thing you can do for an advantage is use the companion rib that you get from having a high level of trust with Skelly. I don't have that yet, it's kinda long to get it. I've just been fighting Hades. So if you have the companion, try to save both your uses just for the Hades fight alone, because it will give you HP, which is very much needed. That's it for this video guys. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up, comment and subscribe as well. If you want me to make any other guides for any of the other bosses, let me know. If you have ways that I can improve my videos, leave that in the comment down below as well. I'll be reading them all. Thank you.